The Jedi Temple was quiet that night. Too quiet. Anakin Skywalker stood at the edge of the great veranda, staring out at the endless lights of Coruscant. His hands were shaking. His chest felt tight. Somewhere in the city below, Padmé was sleeping, unaware that he had seen her die. Again and again, the vision came. Her screams, her tears, a child's cry, and then silence. He clenched his fists. Palpatine's voice slithered through his memory. "Only I can save her, Anakin. The Jedi cannot. They will not." But something was different tonight. Something inside him refused to break. He turned from the balcony and walked fast through the marble halls. His boots echoed like a countdown. Master Windu was in the council chamber, alone, meditating in the dim glow of the setting sun. Anakin stopped at the door. He took a breath. Then he stepped inside. "Master Windu, I need to speak with you." Mace opened his eyes slowly. He could feel it, the storm inside the young Jedi, the fear, the pain, but also something new, something honest. "Speak, Skywalker." Anakin's voice cracked. "It's Palpatine. He's the Sith Lord we've been searching for, and he's been grooming me to turn." Silence. Mace rose to his feet, his hand drifting toward his lightsaber. "You are certain?" "I am." Anakin swallowed hard, then added the words that would change history forever. "And, Master, I want to help you arrest him tonight." Mace Windu stared at him for a long moment. Then he nodded once. "Then we go. Now." The turbolift climbed in silence. Mace Windu stood tall, his purple lightsaber clipped to his belt. Beside him, Anakin Skywalker breathed slowly, steadying his heart. His blue blade waited at his side, but tonight it would stay there. The doors slid open. Chancellor Palpatine sat behind his desk, calm as ever, pretending to read a report. He looked up with a warm, fatherly smile. "Master Windu, Anakin, what a pleasant surprise." Mace stepped forward. His voice was cold as Durasteel. "Sheev Palpatine, in the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, you are under arrest." The smile faded, slowly, like a mask peeling away. "On what charge, Master Jedi?" "You are the Sith Lord we have been hunting." Palpatine's eyes flicked to Anakin, waiting, expecting, hoping. But Anakin did not move. He did not speak. He simply stared back and shook his head. Once. Something inside Palpatine cracked. His fingers curled around the hilt hidden beneath his desk. In one blinding motion, he leapt across the room, red blade igniting, screaming with rage. "You fools!" Mace's saber flashed up to meet him. Sparks flew. The office shook. Windows shattered. But Anakin did not draw his weapon. Instead, he raised his hand and, using the Force, ripped the red lightsaber straight out of Palpatine's grip. The Sith Lord froze. Alone. Weaponless. Cornered. Mace pressed his blade to Palpatine's throat. "On your knees." For the first time in 1,000 years, a Sith Master obeyed a Jedi. Palpatine dropped, slowly, his yellow eyes burning with hatred. "You have no idea what you have done." Palpatine's smile returned. Slow, cruel, broken. "You should have killed me when you had the chance." His hands shot up. Blue-white lightning exploded from his fingertips, screaming through the air like 1,000 angry souls. It slammed into Mace Windu's chest, throwing him backwards against the wall. The Jedi Master crashed to his knees, gasping, his lightsaber rolling from his hand. Arg! The lightning did not stop. Palpatine rose to his feet, laughing a sound that no longer belonged to a Chancellor. It was ancient, hungry, evil, unlimited power. But then he saw Anakin. The young Jedi stood in the center of the room, perfectly still, his blue eyes burning with something Palpatine had never seen in him before. "Peace. No more," Anakin whispered. He raised both hands. The Force answered. A wall of pure, golden light exploded outward from Anakin's palms, wrapping around Mace, blocking the lightning cold. The room shook, the floor cracked, and then Anakin pushed. The lightning bent. It twisted. It reversed. Palpatine's eyes went wide with horror as his own storm came screaming back at him. It hit his chest like a hammer of the gods. His skin cracked. His face melted into the ruined mask the galaxy would one day fear. He collapsed, smoke rising from his robes, twitching on the marble floor. Silence. Mace Windu coughed, staring at Anakin in shock. "How? How did you do that?" Anakin lowered his hands. His voice was quiet. "Because I finally chose the light." The news spread like wildfire. Across every holonet channel, on every planet, in every cantina and command center, the words repeated again and again. "Chancellor Palpatine has been arrested. He is the Sith Lord." At first, no one believed it. Then the footage aired. The galaxy watched, frozen, as Mace Windu and Anakin Skywalker walked into the Senate Rotunda. Behind them, flanked by 6 Jedi Knights, came a broken figure in chains. His hood was down. His face was ruined, pale, cracked, twisted by his own lightning. The senators gasped. Some cried out. Bail Organa rose to his feet, his hand covering his mouth. Padmé Amidala stood in her booth, tears streaming down her cheeks. She had suspected, she had feared, but seeing it was different. Palpatine's yellow eyes swept across the chamber. His voice, when it came, was a whisper, but every microphone caught it. "You will regret this, all of you. The dark side is patient. It always returns." Mace Windu did not flinch. Not today. The Jedi Master turned to the Senate. "Members of the Republic, for 1,000 years, we believed the Sith were extinct. We were wrong. This man, your Chancellor, has orchestrated the Clone Wars. He created the droid armies. He murdered Jedi. He planned to enslave the galaxy." The rotunda erupted. Anakin looked up at Padmé. She looked back at him, and for the first time in months, she smiled. But somewhere, deep in the shadows of the Senate, a hooded figure watched the broadcast. His eyes glowed gold. His name was Darth Maul. And he was smiling too. On Utapau, Commander Cody stood on a windy cliff, watching Obi-Wan Kenobi ride into battle on a giant lizard. He touched his comm. He waited. Nothing. On Kashyyyk, Commander Gree stared at Master Yoda's back, his rifle in his hands. His orders should have come by now, but the channel was silent. On Felucia, Commander Bly looked at Aayla Secura through the jungle mist and lowered his blaster. Something was wrong. Or something was right. Back on Coruscant, Master Yoda leaned on his cane in the Jedi Temple's medical wing. Beside him, a captured clone lay sedated on a table. A team of Jedi healers and Kaminoan scientists worked frantically. Then, a soft beep. The head medic looked up, pale as snow. "Masters, there's a chip inside his brain. It's real." Mace Windu clenched his fists. "How many clones have one?" "Every single one." One. The room went cold. Yoda closed his eyes. A trap this was. Prepared for centuries, it has been. Trigger the chips Palpatine could have. Every Jedi, dead in a single moment. Anakin stepped forward, his voice shaking with rage. "Then we take them out. All of them. Every clone. Every chip. Tonight." Obi-Wan appeared on a hologram, dust still on his robes. "Anakin, we have 3 million clones spread across the galaxy. It will take weeks. Then we start now." The Jedi moved fast. Ships were dispatched. Surgeons were called. And one by one, the chips came out. The clones woke up free. Truly free. For the first time in their lives. But somewhere on Mustafar, something ancient was stirring. The parades lasted for weeks. On Coruscant, on Naboo, on Alderaan, trillions of citizens chanted his name. Skywalker, Skywalker, Skywalker. Statues were carved, songs were written. Children painted his face on the walls of their schools. Anakin Skywalker, the hero with no fear, had done the impossible. He had exposed a Sith Lord. He had saved the galaxy. He had fulfilled the ancient prophecy. The Chosen One had brought balance to the Force. But inside the Jedi Temple, something was different. Anakin walked into the council chamber, expecting warmth, expecting a promotion, expecting to finally be named a master. Instead, he found silence. Master Yoda spoke first, gently. "Grateful we are. Proud we are. But watchful we must remain." Mace Windu nodded slowly. "Skywalker, you saved my life. But the power you showed that night, no Jedi has ever wielded such raw strength. Not in 1,000 generations. We must understand it. We must be careful." Anakin's jaw tightened. "Careful of me? Careful for you," Obi-Wan said quickly. "Anakin, you know how deep Palpatine's claws went. He was inside your mind for years. We just need time." But Anakin heard something else. "They don't trust you. They never did. They fear you now." He bowed stiffly. "As you wish, masters." That night, he sat alone in his quarters, staring at his mechanical hand. Padmé was asleep beside him, her belly round with the twins. She was safe. His visions had stopped. But the voice Palpatine had planted, it had not. "They will never see you as an equal, Anakin." Anakin closed his eyes. And, for the first time in weeks, he listened. The medical chamber on Polis Massa was silent. Not with grief, but with wonder. Padmé Amidala opened her eyes. She was alive, and in her arms rested 2 tiny, breathing miracles. A boy, a girl, Luke and Leia. Across the galaxy, the impossible had already happened. Mace Windu's lightsaber had found its mark. Chancellor Palpatine, Darth Sidious, the last shadow of a 1,000-year plan, was dead. The Clone Wars ended not with an empire, but with an execution. Anakin Skywalker stood at Padmé's bedside, trembling. He had run to Mace Windu in time. He had chosen the light, and now, holding his son, he wept for the darkness he almost became. "They're beautiful," he whispered. "They're free," Padmé answered. Across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. The Sith Lord was dead. The war was over. The Separatist droids powered down as Grievous fell and Dooku's shadow faded. On Coruscant, citizens flooded the streets. On Naboo, bells rang for 3 full days. On Alderaan, Bail Organa raised a glass and simply said, "The nightmare is over." The Jedi Council convened at dawn. Yoda, hands folded, spoke softly. Extinct, the Sith appear to be. For the first time in 1,000 years, quiet, the Force feels. Obi-Wan Kenobi smiled, but something in his chest tightened. Because deep in the unknown regions, on a world no map had ever named, a pair of yellow eyes opened in the dark, and they were watching the twins. The Republic called it justice. The Jedi called it mercy. History would call it a mistake. Chancellor Palpatine, unmasked as Darth Sidious, had not fallen from the window of his office. Mace Windu's blade had trembled at the final moment. Anakin Skywalker had burst through the door, screaming for restraint. And in that single heartbeat of hesitation, the galaxy chose a different path. They took him alive. Now, deep beneath the surface of the prison moon of Kessel, in a cell forged from cortosis and pure force-dampening ore, the old man sat quietly. His yellow eyes had faded to a dull gray. His hands were bound in energy shackles that hummed with anti-force resonance. 12 Jedi Masters stood guard in rotating shifts. Cameras watched every breath. And still, he smiled. Because Sheev Palpatine had planned for everything. Even this, far across the galaxy, on the crumbling world of Dathomir, a lone figure knelt in the red dust. His body was twisted. His legs were mechanical, forged from scavenged droid parts. His face was carved with old rage, and his horns pointed toward a blood-red sky. Darth Maul was alive. The galaxy had forgotten him. Obi-Wan Kenobi had cut him in half on Naboo years ago, and the Jedi had moved on. But Maul had survived. He had crawled. He had suffered. He had listened to the whispers of the dark side in the deepest pits of Lotho Minor, and now he had returned. He rose slowly, his red and black tattoos catching the dying light. In his hand, a double-bladed lightsaber ignited with a hiss. "Master," he whispered to the empty wind, "I am coming." On Coruscant, the Jedi Council debated for weeks. Some, like Ki-Adi-Mundi, demanded Palpatine's execution. Others, like Yoda, urged caution. "Alive, he is more dangerous than dead," Mace Windu warned. "Alive, he may yet teach us," Yoda replied softly. "The Sith, we must understand, or repeat their darkness, we will." Obi-Wan Kenobi stood silent. Something in the Force felt wrong. A ripple, a shadow, behind a shadow. But he could not name it. Not yet. Anakin Skywalker was not in the chamber. He was home, on Naboo, holding his newborn twins. For the first time in his life, he slept without nightmares. Padmé was alive. His children were safe. The Sith Lord who had haunted him since boyhood was locked away forever. Anakin believed it was over. He was wrong. The transmission came in the dead of night, a single, encrypted pulse. It slipped past every Republic scanner, every Jedi sensor. It had been coded in a language older than the Republic itself, the tongue of the ancient Sith. It landed in a black data slate hidden beneath the floor of Palpatine's cell. The old man's eyes opened. Somewhere in the prison, a guard collapsed, without a sound. Then, another, and another. The cell door hissed open. Darth Maul stepped inside. He knelt before his old master, lowering his head. His voice was low and rough, like broken stone. "I have not forgotten. I have never forgotten." Palpatine did not move. His shackles still glowed. "Prize. My apprentice," he whispered. "You have grown strong. Strong enough for what must come next." Maul lifted his eyes. "Command me." "The rule of two demands a successor," Palpatine said quietly. "One master, one apprentice, always. But the galaxy believes the Sith are dead. Let them believe it. Let them grow soft. Let them grow careless. He leaned forward as far as the shackles allowed. And when they sleep, he hissed, we will wake them. Maul did not free his master that night. That was not the plan. Instead, he vanished into the ventilation shafts. He killed no more guards. He left no trace. The Jedi arrived at dawn to find the collapsed sentries dead from a rare Sith poison, but no evidence of an intruder. The Council was shaken. Security around Palpatine was tripled, and Yoda himself took a rotation as Guardian. But the damage was done. Palpatine now had a link to the outside world. And through Maul, he had hands, eyes, a blade in the dark. The Sith were not gone. They were simply patient. Weeks passed, then months, then years. The galaxy began to heal. The clone army was slowly decommissioned. The Trade Federation was dismantled. Separatist worlds rejoined the Republic under generous terms. Chancellor Bail Organa led the reconstruction with wisdom and grace. On Naboo, Luke and Leia Skywalker learned to walk. They learned to laugh. Their father trained them gently in the ways of the Force, teaching them balance instead of fear. The Jedi Order reformed. Attachments were no longer forbidden. Anakin and Padmé's marriage was celebrated openly. Younglings were allowed to visit their families. The old, rigid ways were softened. Who was a golden age? But golden ages cast long shadows. On the Outer Rim, Darth Maul built an empire in silence. He did not call it the Sith. He did not raise a red banner. He worked through crime lords, through smugglers, through corrupt senators who owed old debts. He rebuilt the Shadow Collective, the criminal network he had once ruled with his brother Savage Opress. He gathered wealth. He gathered soldiers. He gathered secrets. And every month, on a dead world with no name, he received a single transmission, a whisper, a command, a lesson from a master in chains. Palpatine could not use the Force. His shackles